Welcome to the Landscaping Podcast. My name is Joel Barnett and I am your host. And in today's episode, I'm talking with Jason Schulz from Yergan Landscape. Jason runs a landscape design, construction, maintenance, and pool building business based in South Australia. And it's pretty clear, not just from the times I've spoken to him, but speaking to him on this episode, that he loves what he does and is passionate about the industry. I love his reference to the teamwork of sports to working in the landscaping company early on in the episode. And when he talks about the masterclass education that he's doing for his employees, I think that's an awesome idea as well, and something that I reckon a lot of people would want to do, but it does take a bit of effort to put that into place. But it was awesome to see the garden that they were involved in at the Flower and Garden Show this year that won Best in Show. And one of the features of that was the steel arbor that Jason had a fair old role in constructing, and it was good to see. So hopefully you enjoy this chat with Jason Schulz. Jason, thank you for joining us on the Landscaping Podcast. My first question for you is, how did you start in the industry?
I started in the industry as a landscape labourer, so looking to find a job and looking to use my best skills. So I grew up working on a farm a bit when I was a kid. My father's got an asparagus farm, so worked on there picking asparagus when I was younger and spending a lot of time outdoors. Yeah, it's just something that you really enjoy, and you find that's where your passion is, being outdoors and working with soil and plants. And so that was probably an inspiration to use my hands, I guess, use my hands in a trade, to make a living and find a career. So I wasn't necessarily out to, become a landscaper long term. I think when I was at school, I wanted to be an architect. So I absolutely love buildings and building design. That's what ended up sort of combining the two. So I didn't really realise the two were linked when I first went out to be a landscaper. So I guess I'd say I worked in the industry for a few years for another guy who was really good. He taught me a lot. And but we were doing sort of basic landscape, so to gardens, paving around houses, but for builders' homes. And then I guess worked for him for about 4.5 years and realised I had a few ideas of my own. So that's when you sort of decide to go out by yourself. So I started my own business.
How old were you then when you started the business?
That's a good question. So it's about 20 years ago. So
Yeah.
I would have been about 23, 24.
What's the best way to cook asparagus?
Just a little bit of butter and garlic in the frying pan, just to saute, and it goes really well with mashed potatoes and a steak.
Yeah, we cook it we're chucking in like a Ziploc bag with a bit of olive oil and salt, and then like mix it around and then roast it. Yeah,
Yeah,
don't mind some asparagus.
yeah, it's not bad. It's a unique vegetable, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you're looking for new employees, do you like look favorably when they come from like a farming background?
So I also played football when I was younger and cricket, absolute sports fanatic. And so the teamwork that's involved with playing sport is incredible. And I've got so many friends from playing footy and cricket when I was younger, and that's the sort of culture I really like. So I look towards team sports. If they play team sports or they like sport, I think it's a big win. So yeah. But yeah, if they've got a farming background, yeah, I've had a couple on before. They go all right. Yeah, yeah, it's definitely an attribute. Someone that likes to use their hands and problem solving with their hands is it's a real asset.
And when you started out on your own, were you doing those sort of more basic projects as well? And then you gradually built up to what you're doing now, or how did that all?
Yeah, absolutely. So a bit more about my background. So the architectural sort of thing that I wanted to do when I was a kid, I did go to school after school, and for about 6 months, but I had enough of school. And so the passion was still there. And then when it came to, I guess, as you work through the industry and you work out that it's a big world out there. I started using my drafting skills in the landscaping for the company I was using working for before, and so that's probably been the pivot. So it's like if I can draw it, if you can imagine it, then I want to make it happen. So it was probably that point there, and then just experiencing like beautiful gardens and just wanting to achieve more, and so like seeing a garden that somebody else has built, it's like I want to build something like that, and then you progress through and you add your own ideas to it.
So, and was it a CAD program you started using in the start?
Yeah, so when I was at school, I reckon I was about 13 or 14 years old. I had a computer at home and got CAD on that because I think we were using it in tech wood or something like that, or tech metal at school, and just that first experience, and it was just amazing to be able to design something and then build it, and that process, just replicating that process is just it's just endless opportunities. What you can imagine it, you can build it, and yeah, so that's where that started, probably back in high school.
Yep. And how did you start getting work when you started out?
Oh, well, that was a really good story around that. So a mate of mine, I built his garden on the weekends while I was working, as you do your weekend work. And so I was building this garden, and then his father came along and said, "Look, I've got a couple of houses I need renovated." We went and had a look, and I said, "Look, there's no way I'm going to be able to do this on the weekends." And it was actually his suggestion. He said, "Look, I'll tell you what, I'll pay you half of the job now, like up front. You go out and buy all your own tools, and you can start your business, and I'll help you support that." And Alan, he was just an incredible client of mine. We did work for him for 15 years. So he gave me a real big leg up into running a landscaping business. Like, I can't imagine a better opportunity. So yeah.
And did you put staff on? Like, did you have someone on shortly after?
Yeah, pretty soon, I think, because I was very used to running a team in my old business. It's just so much more efficient to be able to have a team of guys to build gardens. It's so labor intensive. So yeah, then you can do it by yourself, but
And did you start with an apprentice or like labourers?
from the footy club, so playing football, young blokes out there or other team members have a chat about what you're doing. They're like, "I've got nothing. I'll come give you a hand," and that's how it works. So it's a great place to get employees, clubs. So
Yeah, a few people have said that actually.
yeah, very willing to put their hand up and give it a shot. So I've never tried it before, but I'm fit as a fiddle. I'm strong. I'll get out there and do it, and if they can, a lot of them just love it. So yeah, a lot of my guys play football, and
Did you learn anything about running the business from the previous employer, or was that all just made up as you
yeah,
started?
he did give me a few tips. Yeah, so he gave me a few tips just on insurance, getting your licenses and all that. So probably all the top end stuff. The rest of it was pretty much he taught me on site, but it's like concrete work and organising guys. That was something that was really good that I got from him. So when I worked for Albi, I think we got up to about 10 guys that were organising, and so that was pretty cool to strive so quickly within his business. And so that taught me a lot about managing people and getting the best out of people.
And were there any times where you had learned the hard way about how not to manage people?
How not to manage people. Yeah, I think understanding people types is very important. So just because they've got the skills to do it doesn't necessarily mean that that's what they're most suited for. So one of my best guys, clearly the best guy on the team, and we're looking to grow the business. And I said, "Look, would you like to be a leading hand, some sort of a supervisor?" He put his hand up originally, and then, but yeah, it didn't work out for him. And it was just amazing how just the way he works within the team as a supervisor. So we put him back in with the team again after that.
Yeah, I think we've learned that the last few years as well. Like, so you could have a good worker, but they don't want to run jobs. Like, they just want to be a worker. So, yeah, if they don't tell you that, you kind of need to work it out because otherwise it'll turn sour.
Yeah, they're not necessarily your best worker either, the guy that's the leader. So
Yeah,
they're different attributes. It's not what you know, it's how you go about it, I suppose,
yeah,
in that space.
yeah. That's why not everyone wants to run their own business because they just enjoy doing the work and that's it.
Yeah, no, that's true.
And when did you start doing designs? Was that straight away as well? Would you do basic stuff for the jobs you're doing?
Yeah, so I've always designed things as a kid. Yeah, it's just something I absolutely love doing. But with gardens, it just yeah, I think it just happens naturally. For me, like using CAD to design was just problem solving from the beginning. So you do a lot of paving yourself. So I like using CAD to do paving layouts. So you measure up a space and you can work out all your cuts before you start. Just takes away all the heavy lifting. That's probably the easiest way to describe it. But then you just filter that within everything that you build. Um, so that's how I got into using CAD within landscape. But then taking that to the next step was just clients, they come along and they want you to design their garden. So I don't have any formal training in design. I'm a real strong believer that if you want to learn how to do something, you naturally just progress towards it. You do your own research and make it happen. Um, so yeah, for me, it's a lot of hours in the office researching, products and processes. Plants have been a great thing to learn along the way, but yeah, so just over the years, just developed those design skills, and I think it's designed also about just wanting to enjoy the space and the way you move through it, and just the willingness and just seeing people's responses. That's how you learn how spaces work, and then of course learning how plants grow. It's just a lifetime lesson there. So yeah, and landscape is one of those things you don't really realize when you first get into it, that it is a lifetime of learning. It's a commitment that even today or tomorrow I'll be learning something new in landscaping that I'll be applying this week. So one of the things we've learned over the years to do concrete swimming pools. So now we're learning all the intricacies of building spas and how water moves through them, and pump systems, and you can get some really complicated systems out there, and it's something you just have to learn along the way.
Yeah, even if you just focused on one element of like the landscape industry, so whether that's construction, design, horticulture, pools, you're not going to learn everything.
No,
That let alone if you've got all the different ones.
yeah, that Craig Guthrie that you were speaking to, he's got an incredible horticultural knowledge, and that, yeah, like I said, he's focused on just horticulture.
Yeah,
And
you're still learning.
the way he's expanded it is it's incredible. We do garden maintenance as well, so that's been a bit of a learning curve. A couple of years in on that, but we also, like I said, concrete swimming pools, landscape design. So we got a design team in the office, and yeah, the construction, as well as we're learning about something similar to what you got, like the landscaping school. We've got our own sort of masterclass on landscape construction, something we've been working on for, well, probably 20 years. But
Yeah, it take a while.
yeah, it takes a while. But yeah, it's just something that we've used within our business to educate and train our guys. Everyone that joins the business, that we've got different techniques than everyone else, so we want to translate those techniques over to them and teach them as quick as possible. So yeah, using our landscape masterclass, we've been able to get some pretty good results there, but it's something we're constantly working on. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of those things where people have spoken about on like business podcasts about systems and procedures. They'll tell you to, when you're explaining something to an employee, like record doing it so that then you can give that recording to future employees. So is that kind of the thing that you're talking about?
Yeah, so that's really cool. And I wish I was probably a bit better in front of the camera, probably a bit more confidence. So most of our procedures, they're all drawings. So going back to that's one of the things I really love to do. So our procedures are they're design drawings and they're technical drawings showing how the detail, how every screw gets fixed in and the processes around it. So you've got written processes that go with that. So yeah, it's my lifetime of experience in the landscape industry in drawings and procedures and that way. And I find that that's one of the better ways to get the message across for me because you can see the detail and for the guy on site, it's easy for him just to copy that or follow the procedure that's written down. And the other next step, and I think that you do that is like showing the landscaper how you build, how you lay the paver and tips and techniques, how to do it the best way. Um, yeah,
The
it's,
tricky part is like not everyone like not everyone learns the same way. So some people need to see it actually done. Some people need to see it, you know, written to understand.
yeah,
So yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, and it's fascinating that it would be good to have the whole encompassing approach to have video as well, filming it. Um, yeah, but yeah, it's been a fun experience.
just wait till I get mine out first, and then you can do yours.
Well, yeah, I was talking about that before, and yeah, no, I don't think there should be a competition around it. It's like I think every landscape, as you progress through your career, you should be writing down all the things that you learn and teaching other people how you do it. One of the things we stress in our company is everybody's teaching someone else how to do something else. You know, how do you install some paving over here and this irrigation system and there needs to be more of that. I think there's a lot of people throughout the industry that haven't learnt the skills to teach other people. They've got so much knowledge, and it's like, wow, you're doing some incredible stuff here. You can build some incredible things, but we need you to teach other people how to do that so these skills aren't lost. So yeah, I'd love to see more of that. And given that a lot of the formal training around landscaping, I guess now it's become very basic. And I think true, like a real believer in the basics of landscaping and getting that right. But yeah, I think the landscaping industry has evolved so much that there's so many new techniques that need to be taught. Yes, so many new materials that come out, and yeah, it's important that people can learn that and then pass those skills on to someone else. I think also one of the things that's so important is just with the basics. If people can get the basics right, then they can progress to the more advanced skills. And the basics, that it's like going out footy training where you're doing the hand pass and the kick drills for hours. You're learning how to kick and hand pass for hours. Once you get that right, then you can progress to the more advanced skills playing football. And it's the same with landscaping. It's such a broad industry these days. So
Yeah, yeah, and also like the having two different people show you how to lay a paver can be completely different as well because it's not like there's just one exact way that everyone does it. So there's multiple ways to learn.
there is, yeah, and yeah, multiple techniques as well. Yeah, it's so good having chats with people about how they do something and you do it differently, and then you're like, wow, that is a good idea. I'll do it your way now, and that's how you learn. But
Yeah,
without that training, without those conversations, that doesn't happen.
yeah.
Yeah,
There's almost no one who seems to lay the like paving like we do because like I haven't changed. Well, I not haven't changed much since I started the business. So yeah, and there's always these new ways to come along, and sometimes they're better and sometimes they're not.
I'm pretty sure everyone will be laying pavers just like you, Joel. Once your masterclass comes out in landscaping school.
Now, so I only use brick sand. Like people use wash sand and paving sand and combinations of each and all sorts of different stuff. But I think it makes a difference on where that brick sand comes from because a lot of places got a really high clay content, so it's
Mm,
a lot more reactive. But the stuff
yeah,
and there's like where I get mine from. There's three different types of brick sand, and I'll only use one of them. So
yeah,
that might be kind of a hybrid mix already compared. Like that might be what other people are making. that kind of brick sand. So it's like using common names for plants. Like I say brick sand, but what I say is brick sand can be different to what someone else says is brick sand because it comes from a completely different quarry.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what's so important about being able to teach people things, and that explanation there about different types of sand. You can't just use one type of sand for wet lay paving. If it's got too much clay in it, you're going to have a lot of problems with your pavers down the track. But without being able to train that to people, they're the important things that progress the industry along so that it gets better as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and I reckon everyone is pretty good. I reckon with teaching people how they do things. Probably not everyone, but it seems like a very open industry that everyone is like the majority is willing to help other people because
Yeah.
it's not like anyone well, created the industry themselves. They've all learnt off someone else. So, like you say, you want to keep passing that on.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the evolution since I've started in the industry has just been tremendous. Yeah. And that evolution doesn't happen without that training. People sharing their skills and certainly something like Instagram or being able to publicize your project and seeing what's happening online, how much that pushes the industry further and further. I just can't imagine what's going to happen next year in
Yeah,
regards. So
it's funny looking back on the photos of the first projects I did using like 300 by 300 charcoal concrete pavers on a flexible base, and then
yeah.
uh, and then we started using more fancier concrete ones, and then every now and then we get a job with natural stone. I think all these people they're rich, they're using natural stone. Then next thing you know, concrete became more expensive than natural stone.
Yeah, that's true.
It used to be cheaper.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's good if you get the money for it. So yeah. That concrete's definitely one of the it's definitely a fashionable item at the moment, that's for sure.
Yeah, I love the architectural style of concrete. I saw you did a recent project with some pretty fancy curved walls around converted into a seat, was it?
Yeah, we've been doing architectural concrete for a long time. That was something I learned from my old boss. So
No, right.
yeah, starting off with like concrete fence plinths. So in South Australia, we did a lot of colour fencing. And if it's on top of a retaining wall, then I think the best way to do it is with a concrete plinth. If you're only raising up just a little bit. So yeah, used to do quite a lot of those, setting up formwork and just managing sort of concrete pours that way. And then yeah, it's the combination of that and being able to draw something on CAD. Yeah, you can design formwork to do whatever. You can put curves in it. And yeah, if you've got a good carpenter, you can just got the good plans and put it together, and then it's just managing concrete pours. So yeah, no, we've over the years we love our curved concrete benches, the fire pits. Yeah, they're a lot of fun. So very
Um,
challenging.
so how many staff do you have at the moment? The different.
We've got nine, and that includes we've just got one person in maintenance, and then there's five tradesmen, and we've got three in the office, including me. So.
And when did you step off the tools? Was it a gradual thing?
Oh, yeah, I guess it was a gradual thing. I think getting away from it was probably having a family. So taking the kids to school and picking them up, that gets you off the tools pretty quick. If that's what you really want to do, I think people in life sort of gravitate to what they want to do the most. But it's also, larger projects and more labor intense than you had more staff to look after that. But yeah, I think in my business, I've always played a little bit of a part. We did a concrete pour last week. I was on site for a couple of hours, just get amongst the boys and see how everyone's going and get involved a little bit. I like the concrete pours, but yeah, oh, a while ago, most of my work's in the office. Yeah,
Yeah, you have to when you get to a certain size, and certainly doing pools. There's a lot of subcontracting involved in that.
yeah.
And do you get subcontractors for your landscape construction projects as well?
No, no. Also, even with the pools, so there's only a couple of companies in Adelaide that spray pools. So that's not something we do. We don't do earthworks, but we do everything else. So my team, we've got carpenters and builders. So we do a lot of construction work as well. Yeah, and with that, they sort of transverse their skills into our projects. So yeah, steel fixing pools, plumbing, tiling, the fit out. Yeah, installing a underground pool cover at the moment. It's quite a tricky one, but yeah. So all of my team get involved in that.
Yeah,
So
right. Okay,
yeah,
but interesting.
yeah, everything. So yeah, so electrical, plumbing, earthworks, and concrete sprays. They're the only things we don't do. Yeah.
So that pool cover, is that one of those Renko ones that goes like it's got the
Oh,
pit in the bottom?
no, it's not. It's just one that we designed and made ourselves. It's not the one that goes through the pool,
Yeah.
but it is actually, it's the second one we've done like this. We've done a lot of subfloor pool covers, but this one's got concrete lids on it. So it had a concrete pool surround, it's burnished concrete,
Oh yeah.
and to match the lids on the pool cover, it's got burnished concrete. So yeah,
That's a heavy lid.
they're heavy lids. So yeah, probably 110 kilos each. So yeah, just managing that and bit of a design sort of challenge. But I think probably Yannick on site's probably having a lot of fun putting that together. I think he's taken over a lot of the challenge himself. So yeah,
Yeah, right. Yeah,
lots of tricky things. Yeah,
because you have to have some sort of pretty fancy struts lifting that up, I assume. It's and then hope they don't fall on someone's fingers.
yeah. No, yeah, they've got gas struts on them. I've got a guy actually that he builds custom struts for us. Tell him
Yeah.
what you want and he'll deliver it.
Yeah, it's handy having connections like who, yeah, they can do those unique things.
Yeah. You need so many of them in landscaping. Yeah, so we were involved in building a show garden at MIFGS this year, and one of the challenges was obviously constructing that garden here in Adelaide and then taking it over to Melbourne and not really having a lot of resources in Melbourne. It really highlights how important it is to have that guy that you can rely on down the road that can come out and help you out with something. Or the supplier that can just be like, yeah, I've got that for you. I'll drop it off.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Yeah, so with that the garden show, that was the one with Rob Cooper and the South Australian team, and you had a decent result for your first attempt there, winning a gold medal and best in show. Best
Yeah.
use of plant life. Is there another one?
Yeah, plant life, best in show, gold medal. Yeah.
And you were the main involvement in the cantilever pergola, like the steel arbor, and that went to auction last night, I think, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. Yeah. I haven't found out about that. I didn't go along, but yeah, keen to see if it sold.
So how was that? Like what was the process like with that structure? Like, did Rob say this is exactly how I want it? Go and build it, or was there sort of collaboration between the two of you?
Look, Rob got us involved pretty early on in the project. He had some sketches. Yeah, so we just worked off some sketches. He had some ideas, and then I said, "I'll tell you what, come into the office and we'll have a talk about it." Yeah, I got the drawings up, these sketches, and then we sort of redesigned it on CAD. Yeah, originally it had posts in it and a pitched roof, and the centerpiece of that pavilion was to have that glory vine. And I thought, what better way to do that was to cantilever it. So we ended up having a cantilever on the cantilever to display the glory vine. Sort of things you need to do to win best in show.
Yeah,
So yeah,
it did look pretty epic because it looked like the vine was holding it all up.
yeah, yeah.
So,
That was the impression that we wanted to get across. So yeah, it came out really well. It was a fair bit of work, but yeah, it's worth it. So there's a million drawings that went into it.
yeah, I can imagine.
Mm.
And I reckon there would be people who like would be looking at it thinking, oh, there must be like a steel pole that they just can't see holding it up. But
Yeah,
nothing there.
yeah. I think one of the challenges is just building that without concrete because anything that's cantilevered just requires a lot of concrete footings, and yeah, it's very lucky the engineer just gave it the nod. So
What was the experience like? The whole experience like from when like Rob has said he called up a few crew on the way back from the previous year when he was driving home from the garden show saying you want to do one next year.
yeah, we went and caught up at the pub and he brought out the plans for it, and there's a couple of versions of the plans before we got to it. I think for me at the time, I had a lot on my plate at the time, but in life, these opportunities just they pop up, and I really find it hard to say no to a great opportunity. So it was like, yeah, sign us up. We'll help out with this. So yeah, it started off like that. But yeah, I think you just don't realize how much work goes into it. I think from the outset, you go, this is going to be a massive project. This is going to occupy most of my time, but it's probably more than that. I think the stress of putting it together and it's the one shot. It's the one shot scenario where you're like, well, we've got 9 days to build this, or 8 days. That's one shot. So can't come back next week. So you end up doing 3 times the amount of work that you think is required because you gotta leave no stone unturned and make sure all the boxes ticked. Yeah. So that was a big undertaking.
And did you enjoy it?
Oh, I love the planning process in it. A lot of my team did all the promotion work for it and looking at raise sponsorship. That was fun, really cool. We had some big challenges trying to find some people to help us out, but we managed to pull that off just in time. I think I finished the drawings for all the structures sort of mid-January, knowing that there's at least a month to build the structures and then probably a few weeks to fit it out. So we only just made it, and we didn't have anyone to build the structure mid-January. So we found someone that was in Keith, which is a couple of 100 kilometers away from Adelaide. So he was willing to do it at a reasonable price, and he's a very talented guy. We had a steel sponsor, so we had all the steel cut up, ready to go, and we ended up trucking it down to Keith, which is a good part of the way to Melbourne already. He welds the whole thing up there, and then we truck it back to Adelaide and fit out some of these structures here, and then truck it over to Melbourne. It was huge. Yeah,
And then people say, "Oh, you built all this in 9 days."
yeah, yeah. Not all of it, but yeah, even the fitting it outside. The day we started, we were very lucky. We got to work on the Sunday because we had got semi-loads of stuff with cranes. We convinced Trent that it was safer for us to do it without everyone else there. So we were lucky we got that Sunday. Unfortunately, you might know that was the day of the Grand Prix. I think it was about 20, 30 mil of rain that day. So the extra day we got was in puddles and downpours. So that was tricky. And we ended up lifting in the structures on that day in the rain. So yeah.
Yeah. And one of your designers, Talia, was over there as well.
Yeah, yeah.
How
So
was it?
yeah, she came along and just amazing horticultural skills. So and plus the social media. So she did all the social media for the MIFGS. She does all our social media. It's just she does an incredible job, and her plant knowledge is really cool, really cool. Yeah, so yeah, she played a pretty cool part in the project.
Yeah, that's what it's all about as well. It's like sharing it with other people. Like, so then you've got that memory.
Yeah,
And we talk about, yeah, remember that time we did some crazy thing in Melbourne.
yeah, yeah. No, it will be cool to look back on it, and as I can see in your background, you're reminiscing on your build in Memphis. Was that 2 years ago?
Yes, 2023.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's hard to think back on how many years ago it is. Like, yeah. It seems like yours was forever ago and it was only like 2.5 months.
yeah, it does. Yeah.
And then you've just got back from Chelsea as well. You're over there checking that out. How was that?
Yeah, that was something that was on the list and wanted to do it the year before, but then you know the whole MIFGS thing, gold medal, right? But we're gonna go and we're gonna do it. So awesome trip, awesome trip. The Chelsea Garden Show, phenomenal. You can't imagine how big it is. It's so huge and so many passionate horticulturists over there. Yeah, it's just a real vibe.
And were you over there with Rob as well? 'Cause I saw him and Ian Barker were there.
He was there before us, so we ended up going sort of later in the week. And yeah, so we only had one day at the show.
Yep.
We spent 16 hours at the show that day.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so it was that good. It was that good.
Because
Yeah.
I thought maybe you guys were meeting over there to work out which site you wanted for next year.
We did have some conversations about that, but yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's a different ball game over there
Yeah,
than
getting to Melbourne is one thing.
yeah,
You don't need shipping containers to come to Melbourne.
yeah, yeah.
Maybe we'll see who bought that structure last night. Maybe Rob bought it back, so he's going to use it again.
Yeah, but maybe we can ship that over to the UK and just slot
Mhm.
that into Chelsea next year. That'd be good.
Yeah, yeah, they'd appreciate it. And get that vine over as well. I'm sure taking vines overseas will be fine. They won't mind.
Yeah, I have no worries about that.
So have you got it? Do you have a business coach or anything like that, or anyone who helps out with the business side of things? And
No, not really. So I think just talking to other people in the industry is really good. What they do in their business. I guess years ago, probably did have a business coach that was probably informal, but no, nothing really formal.
have you had any employees who've gone out and started their own thing that you help mentor or anything like that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yep. Heaps of them. I think that's like it's great when people leave the company and start their own business. Although it's sad to see them go for the sake of your own company. It's a pretty cool achievement when you've got a guy that comes on in your team as a labourer. He works his way through your company, and then he's got the skills to start his own business. That's a pretty cool achievement. But yeah, I've helped out a few guys start their own businesses. So yeah,
Yeah, awesome.
yeah.
Have you got any goals on do you have long-term goals that you look towards, that you work towards, or you just sort of have a loose vision that you,
Like I think I was talking about it before, just getting the basics right. I think we're still getting the basics right with a lot of things, but with some things. So I guess perfecting those basics, and that comes down to the training and the procedures that we're trying to put in place. I want to get that really spot on, like the sort of the training program that we want for our guys. I want to get that sort of encompassing, so we've got all the basics, but some of the advanced skills, documented, and the guys can go out there and they can do it repeatedly and get it right every time. That's something I want to achieve. But within that, I think as a company, we want to push the boundaries a bit more. So I think if you can get the basics right on anything that you want to work on in life, if you get those spot on, then it makes it so much easier to do the more advanced things. So that you can dabble in doing some curved concrete benches and you can curve them 5 ways instead of 4 ways and put more cantilevers in your projects and push those boundaries just a little bit more. So I'd really like to do that. Just have some fun and be creative and do some wild stuff really. Yeah.
and how are you finding a balance? Like, do you like just get really, engrossed into your work and then feel like you're getting a bit overwhelmed with it, or you just enjoy doing it anyway?
I really enjoy doing it. So probably I think it was when I started. So getting off the tools, moving towards working in the mornings. So if I want to achieve something for the day, I have to get up early enough to get that done. So sometimes that's 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. Most of the time it's at 5 o'clock, and I'll get done the most important thing that I want to get done in the day. before 7 o'clock, before the day starts. So that's where the balance is. And if I can't get it done in that time slot, it's going to be very difficult to get it done for the rest of the day. There's too many distractions. There's family, there's running the business, there's phone calls, everything happens through the day. And the most important thing for me is just getting the most important things done before that starts. So the balance is, if I don't get it done today, then I get up earlier tomorrow to do it tomorrow.
Yeah,
so that's the balance.
Yeah, it's insane the amount of successful people who have that kind of similar thing. They'll get most stuff done before everyone else starts doing anything.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I say, because no one's going to send you a message at 5:30 saying, asking you a question about something or telling you a problem they've got. Because most people will wait until at least 7:30 or something. So yeah, if
Yeah.
you get that work, uninterrupted work done.
It's the best time of the day for the brain as well. Just
Yeah.
it fills up, and once it's full, yeah, it doesn't function properly. So it's like, yeah, put that aside and enjoy the rest of the afternoon, and then start again tomorrow.
Yeah, because if you compare the amount of productivity work you can get done between like 5 a.m. and 7 a.m. compared to 5 p.m. and 7 p.m., that's three times the amount of work in the same amount of time.
Do you get up early?
Yeah, I don't do anything productive. I just scroll on my phone, but I'll wake up early. But like when like because I know that I um get a lot more work done early, but it's just having the motivation that I've been struggling the last couple of years to do it. But I know that's the best time to do stuff. But instead, I've been doing stuff when I need to get like a design done. I've been doing it at night, and I'll do little bits and pieces, and then I realize I need to get it done. So then, like, I'll start when I go to, I'll start at 7 at night, and I'll just go through to 1 o'clock and just
Yeah.
get it all done. But I know like that's a 6 hour period, and I know I could have done that in 2 hours if I got up in the morning. So yeah, so it's one of those do what I say, not as I do. I think it's like I know getting up early is better,
Yeah.
but yeah, don't know. Usually I was fine with it, but the last couple of years has been struggling to do it. Probably overworked, really. And the funny thing is, when you get overworked, then you don't do things as productively, so it makes it even worse.
Yeah. 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 It's a cycle, isn't it?
Yeah, and there's some people who work best at night, and some people work best at the morning. So it's whatever works best for you.
Yeah, I think most of the day sort of pivots around your sleep as well. So how well you can actually sleep, not necessarily how much sleep you get, but how well you do it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think earlier on I would do the late nights, because simply because you'd be getting up for that concrete pour in the morning. You'd be getting up to meet people on site. That's you're out there straight away. First thing in the morning, you're on site, and then when you run a business, that's the priority. It's like getting the work done is the priority on site, and so the rest of the time you've got in the day has to be in the afternoon, and then that, like I said, like you start after you get home at sort of 4 or 5 o'clock. It takes a long time to get it done at the end of the day. So you're out there till midnight trying to get your work done. But for me, it's just like, well, I'm not getting enough sleep if I'm doing that. It's affecting sleep too much, and so it's just changing. For me, it was just changing that cycle around so that sleep is a priority, and then that way the work gets done when I've got a clear mind and more productive.
and I reckon it also depends on what the actual work is that you're doing, and if you love doing it, you're going to get up early a long time. Like some people do stuff that they don't love doing, they can still do it. But like
Yeah,
if I was going to get up, if I could start working at 5 a.m. doing construction, I would do that every single day. So I love to get up for the construction,
yeah,
whereas sitting in front of the computer is not as enjoyable for me
yeah,
as doing the work. So yeah, I think that makes a big difference.
yeah. And my experience is I love construction as well. My experience with construction and working my hands, it's second nature, but you can do it any time of the day. So I could do it without much sleep quite well. But then if I want to work in the office and do a design, or quotes or whatever it is, my mind has to be in a much better condition than it would be to go and move wheelbarrows or lay pavers or build a structure or something like that. So courses. Yeah.
Yep. And last question for you, Jason, is who do you think would be a good guest to have on the podcast?
I'd love to recommend Talia Webster, so designer in our team. She has a really cool story how she got into the horticultural industry, working in the nursery industry. So yeah, she'd be a good person to have a chat to.
Yeah, I've been wanting to get more people who aren't the business owner on. So, because I remember because Clint did an episode with Steve Lowe from Ian Barker Gardens, and that was one of the best podcast episodes I've ever listened to. So, yeah. So I'll be sending Talia a message.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Thank you very much for coming on and sharing your story. I absolutely love chatting with you.
Thanks a lot, Joel. Thanks for having me on board.